Quack, 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 quack. 12 and no, not so much.
Oh no.
Oh boy, listeners.
Oh boy. Well, I'm Aaron. That's Adam. I watched
Yeah.
the game. So did he. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to
Hey
the
everybody.
podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the show. It's for the Oregon Ducks, the football team.
Okay, one.
Yeah,
One team is obviously the national champion.
Not us.
Two,
we never won.
Another team is obviously rebuilding coaching staff and has maybe a quarterback situation.
Maybe the worst team in the world. Who knows? Maybe.
You know,
from what I saw.
I wish you could talk me from the edge, my friend.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Adam, help me, the sport Luddite, regain perspective, because I know mine is blown askew from what we witnessed.
Yeah.
But you did also in the last episode raise concerns for a scenario in which what we just watched happened. So, where are we at?
It was possible. This was always a possibility. Why? I'll tell you why. And this is something we should have said beforehand. It would have been
everything
smart. I definitely built up that this is, the defending national champion. Right. That their talent is on the next tier. We are very talented. We are still a very talented team.
Everything you said, the announcer said.
Yeah.
We lost 15, but gained just as powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just cycled through. They had veteran players ready to just fill in, and boy did they. Did they. But and so this was, the doomsday scenario. Absolutely. I think I know that absolutely everything went poorly for the Ducks. Yeah. But there's still some silver linings in there. We'll get into that. I will say though, that is the most talented team, I do believe. Not just talented team, but you could probably just say, we'll have to see where they really end up this season, but probably just the best team, period, the Oregon Ducks have ever played in their entire history. Right?
There's a chance. There is a chance from all the... Well, okay, one, I would like to apologize to ABC and all of its affiliate partners and family, corporate level, for they weren't bad to us. And so I apologize for assuming that they would, because I have a negative outlook on life.
You do not like ABC or Disney, yeah, that's right.
But at the end of this season, it's very well likely 30% chance that Georgia will be yet again the national champion. And then what happened on game day won't seem so bad.
Yeah. You know what was funny?
Yo, look, it was national champions.
The nice thing was it was such a beatdown and it was such a boring game that and that the headlines are just, oh man, they're like, the main headline is just, damn, Georgia is really fucking good. And also, Ducks looked really bad. That's kind of like the aside of it, But mainly, it's like the good thing is you get the built-in excuse of it was a new coaching staff, and it was the week one, and it's against the best team, a truly amazing team. I was really impressed with Georgia's offense. Obviously, I think that's really where they broke open the game. Our defense was they were having execution errors, and on top of that, Georgia was just ready to fully take advantage of it, and they had a really smart game plan.
But it did look like there were moments of the defense looks good, like Sewell breaking through the line and almost nabbing
Yeah,
up guys.
almost. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, it
Like,
was a lot of
yeah.
almost, right? It was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
missed tackles.
Mm-hmm. And if
They
ifs
were
and
getting there, but they weren't finishing it.
yeah, exactly. And like
Interesting.
that's a hard part of it. Like a lot of it's tough
Yeah.
enough to break back there in time while the QB still got the ball in his hands.
Hmm.
It's a very hard thing to actually finish up that final move. That's what gets you in the NFL is being able to do both of those.
What do you think about
Yeah.
that late hit situation that happened?
I was actually surprised, kind of, that he wasn't ejected from the game flow. Which it just felt the way the game was going. I was like, oh
Right.
my god, yeah, he's out. Like,
Right. I
and
expected
I
it.
would make sense. Yeah, I'm glad he wasn't. Just so that wasn't something over our heads of like, oh damn it, Flo didn't gonna play in this huge game because like
Yeah,
is
that
the-
would have made all the difference if he was there.
yeah. Well, that's the fun thing.
We
too
would have won.
about these scores is like no individual error. Obviously, the 2 interceptions played a huge part in it. Obviously,
Obviously.
but no like single error or single player even, which is what we I mean we're gonna get into Bo Nix at some point, I'm sure, but no single player or single error broke this game. Because like the score was so lopsided,
Yeah.
the play was so lopsided,
Yeah.
the talent was so lopsided,
Yeah.
the fans were so lopsided
Yeah.
that it just kind of felt like no, this was everything. Like this was destined to happen.
I think the hardest pill, and maybe it's time, maybe we just switch right into it right now. You've already kind of teased it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardest pill to swallow, and so my heart really goes out to him, is Bo.
Yeah, Bo Nix.
They literally made it a point to say before the game, the coaches had a talk with him, and he even said, you want to be on Sports Center for the good clips, not the bad ones. And then, like,
no, just the
halfway
bad
through the
ones.
first quarter, they're
If
like,
that first drive,
well, he's
I mean.
gonna be on Sports Center for the bad clips. And it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fucking kid.
And like this was interesting, because
Also,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you
no,
off.
no. You're excited. I want to hear it. I want to
Yeah.
hear it, man.
I cut you off, and I apologize. But also,
Mm-hmm.
we're going against a 26-year-old quarterback. I mean, literal years of college football experience.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's like that is also another thing that's lopsided. It's like this dude is an adult.
Well, he I like that it's like in his career because he went to a junior college for one.
Right.
So he was drafted or like given a scholarship by Alabama, and then he goes 1 year to a JUCO where he's the quarterback. He's doing well, gets some like some real reps, and then he comes back to Bama, and so it's like he went to college. Went to a college just to play football within a college. Like it was a really smart move, honestly. And
it's a career builder. It's a
Yeah,
it's a whole season in the middle where you don't affect your real college career.
Mhm.
That you just get good game time in.
well,
Practice.
he's damn good, and as we
Yeah.
saw, he's actually pretty mobile. Like
Yeah.
he ran one in. Like he's actually pretty quick QB.
Is he
Like he evaded Sewell really well. He evaded all.
Yeah.
Damn, he evaded like the whole damn team
Everyone.
on that one touchdown.
Yep.
Where he just he was. I mean, he was perfect. Basically, I think he
Yep.
was like 18 of 21 in the first half,
Elite.
and a few of those were just because he was thrown out of bounds because it was the smart thing to do. They scored on their first 7 drives. On their first
insane.
7 drives, and then on the 8th drive with their like backups in, they punted. But if they wanted to, they could have been like, no, we'll score a touchdown instead. Like they could have.
I didn't even realize that they had their backups in the game.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the end of
Dude.
the game,
Oh well,
We were still
this is the other
struggling.
thing. This is why Georgia's amazing, and this is why we are in a tough spot. Honestly,
yeah,
is because Georgia is at a level in their program. I should say program, as they say in the
Program.
South.
where
That
you've never been. But you
Well, I've
apparently
never
know
been in the
exactly
South.
how they
Never
speak.
will be. No, thank you. I'm just a
There's
perfect
good people
imitator.
down there. There's good people.
There was one, and he moved to Seattle. His name is Aaron.
Oh, interesting.
Georgia, though, like they're at a part in their program where basically, I mean, like even their second stringers, third stringers, they are getting rotations. Like even last year during their national championship run, they were blowing teams out like they did to us, which means really quickly. And they feel confident in putting in the backups anyways because their backups are 4 stars and 5 stars. Like so they don't mind putting in getting
Pandemonium.
in. Yeah, exactly. Like they had some really good freshmen playing against us right off the bat. Or young players, and they already had experience because they had been in the rotation. So they're at a point where they're just like ready to, and they treated us like a practice squad for quite a bit of this, and they played us so well. As in, when you think about Georgia, you think, oh yeah, they are a running team. They are just big, burly, love to running back you. Like that's what they're gonna do.
And then they're throwing.
Oh yeah, and they came out and they were chucking the ball because they knew we were planning on being like, okay, we're gonna kind of sell out the run, or at least like that's gonna be our main focus. And because people talk so much shit about Stetson Bennett Jr., even after he, wins the national championship, and it's because of him, because of his play, a big part of it. He just comes out there, plays some perfect ball, marches down the field. And just picked us apart. Not only that though, because mainly their game with him last season was deep ball. They loved doing like the play action or just getting like a really like some deep routes. That's in 50-50 balls and stuff like that. For us, they didn't have to do that. They could just do like the crossers and the little like hitches and stuff like that, and they would go for so much further because it took 10 goddamn ducks to tackle anybody. It took so many players to tackle anybody, and that's
it didn't seem like size was an issue.
I mean, it's not entirely an issue, but I will say Georgia's got 2, 3 tight ends that are incredible. That that are NFL players. Bowers and Washington,
There were some very good tackles.
I mean, I guess
like the one where he snatched his legs and just basically was just like blonk and just stopped him right before the first down. But I think, we tire easily, don't we?
Well, they were saying conditioning. Well, this is the thing. This is the other thing. This is, I think, why
our conditioning coach is gone.
Well, Aaron Feld. Yeah, we do have one, but
that's the problem.
Mustache Man is not there. I mean, Cristobal blew out their team, even though
favorite part of the program.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, friend, but I'll tell you this.
Okay.
The reason why this is a 49-3 game, this is why I think, is for all the reasons I just said. The talent and stuff like that, but also. Every week one team, a little bit, even Georgia probably, like they had some rust, I'm sure. It's just insane. They just had way less, and we were just not ready to take advantage of anything that they were throwing our way. Any little mistake that they made. We were making, but one second, it's like the reason why it's 49-3 is because every team in week one is going to be rusty. We're extra rusty because it's an entire new staff, an entire new defense, an entire new offense, entire new way of communicating and everything. A few new key players such as Bo Nix and stuff like that. But also, Georgia, they just came off a fucking national championship. And even though they just lost 15 players, all the players that are replacing them already have experience. Yeah. So it is a week one for them. But Kirby Smart has been there for a long time. Right. All of his staff has been there for a long time. So it's like everyone knows what to do right off the bat. Like this isn't their first off season all doing it and stuff. Meanwhile, our coach, this is his first time ever being a head coach for a college football, and so everything is new for him too. And for them, they are a well-oiled machine, and ours, we are literally like, we are basically the Wright brothers seeing like, okay, let's see if this thing can take off.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. We
And where's it gonna
inherited some of
end?
these parts. Who knows?
And win.
Yeah. It's like, this
I
is the
was-
thing. This is, okay, I love this. I love this metaphor. Get ready for this.
Ready.
So we just went against like a finely tuned like fighter jet, right? Just
Sure.
like this thing is ready. Like you got to maintain this thing or else it's too dangerous otherwise. So this thing is just boom, ready to go. And we just got destroyed because we were in that Wright Brothers Kitty Hawk or whatever it's called.
Right.
I think. I'm not looking it up.
I
that's
think
what it's
Kitty
called.
Hawk is where it happened.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
But we're in Kitty Hawk, all right? We're the right.
Right.
You and I are the Wright brothers. We're in that thing, and we're trying to be like, figure out how this thing works. Luckily, one of the silver linings of this game is that we're not entering a war. We're not entering fucking World War I over here. Instead, what we're doing is entering like that Red Bull flight contest where they build those little
Shit.
carts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go into the river and see how far they can go.
Yep.
We've got our Wright brothers vehicle and we're entering that. And so in that regard, it's like, oh, this thing's actually could win the whole thing pretty easily. Like this thing can actually kind of fly compared to all this. Like that's what the Pac-12 is. So we could still do really
That's
well.
what I'm kind of hoping, right?
That's what we're all hoping, my man.
The Pac-12 is Kitty Hawk. We
Yes.
happen to be
Yeah.
the Wright brothers with a couple of other idiots around us who are also trying to figure out how flying works.
Exactly. Yeah, we just win the SEC territory, which is just actual like jet.
Yeah, it's
We don't
just
want any of that.
Delta.
Yeah,
It's Boeing or whoever it is that's blowing up airplanes today.
exactly.
Oh,
But back to you. Also brought up Bo Nix. You want to talk about the quarterback? Bo
well,
Nix?
I feel like it's time we stop focusing on Georgia because we know they're good, and I need us to dismantle our airplane.
There you go.
So that
Yeah.
I can see what kind of used parts we're working with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good idea. So
Okay.
Bo Nix, I will say, so like, what we've heard so much about Bo Nix is that not that he's not talented. He's not the all-time greatest QB. He's not like a really, really like, he's not Justin Herbert level of talent. Absolutely not, even though he's wearing the same number.
Well,
he
some
is,
might argue that he's exactly the same kind of talent.
Shut up. No, he isn't. But what he is like he is talented. He can go deep. He can read defenses in theory, and he can make quick decisions. Too quick sometimes, some would say. But and that he's willing. We saw this. He's willing to take the deep shot. He's willing to fucking go for it, even if he's a little off.
Was he a little off?
For some of those. But what it really
for
some
some
of down
of them.
to, what it really came down to, though, is we've also heard it's like, and every once in a while he's going to make a decision where it's like, Bo, why? No, why'd you do that? And he's a senior. Like he's ingrained. Like this is what you get with Bo. We know Bo, and we got what we got with Bo. This is against, the best defense he's going to play all season, basically guaranteed, because we're not getting the playoffs. I kind of hope we don't make the playoffs
this
just so
is
we don't play Georgia again.
This is his highlight reel.
Yeah. Well, they were saying he's played Georgia 3 other times, right? He's lost every time.
Right.
Which makes
Shit.
sense. Georgia fucking good. But those 2 interceptions, because that's really what we're
They
talking
got
about here,
him
right?
pegged.
They got him pretty pegged. Yeah. Well, and they knew, like, we'll get into the running game, but with Bo Nix, both those interceptions, we had that first one. He was going for Seven McGee.
Yeah.
We had some success. We were actually marching down the field pretty well.
Yeah.
And it was just after a big run. I want to say it was Noah Whittington. It was like an 11-yard run. And then we got another first down. So this was second down. We were feeling good. We were trying to answer their score, I do believe.
Right. We were trying to stay competitive.
Mm-hmm. And he chucks this thing down. He's going, to our fastest player to true track speed in Seven McGee. So he chucks that thing down. and it doesn't have enough on it. It should have had a little more juice. Usually, typically against anyone else, especially on our schedule, to anyone else, that defensive back is not good. Is best case scenario going to be able to bat the ball away. That dude is just elite. I mean, everyone in Georgia.
Georgia's slow-mo of how they were like this, and his hand is just what?
Oh, it was an amazing
Congratulations
pick.
to him.
I believe that one was Starks, I want to say. Yeah, that must have been Starks. Congratulations. Hats off to you. And that's all you could say was like, I don't know. The throw wasn't terrible. If Seven McGee wasn't covered like perfectly, there's a world where he can catch that ball. It was actually pretty on target, but it was just an amazing pick. So I don't blame him for that. A lot of very smart people, including Hithilday's, like, I don't, it's not the worst decision in the world to take that shot. And that's what we were bashing Cristobal for all the time. It's like we wanted more shots like that, right?
Exactly. There you go. Now you got
The second one.
Yeah.
Hithilday again over on Addicted to Quack in his duck dive. He broke this down really well. Actually, so it's like what was happening was Bo Nix there was this play where he was, it was basically a screen. It was a screen where he's like looking down, you got all these receivers streaking down the field, and then he's looking at them, but then he looks back towards his running back, checks it down to him. Because those receivers were running downfield, it opens up areas where that running back can actually pick up a lot of yards. And that was doing well for us, actually, just about every time, except for like one time where Marquise Irving sorry, we got you bit nice. Where Marquise Irving like dropped the ball, but that was equally on like Bo Nix and him. But so every time he was checking down, it was doing really well. This time he goes for the deep pass, even though my man, they're covered. You shouldn't do it. This was like a freshman mistake from a senior. They were covered. Don't do it. Check down. The guy, it's still there. It's not, no one bit on it. So don't throw it down. Georgia's too smart for that. Do it against the Pac-12. Maybe it'll work even if they're covering it. But, Georgia, no, wasn't the right move. They pick it off. Smith picks it off and returns it for 22 yards, and then, boom, we're down 14-0.
Now, is that a coaching problem? Shouldn't the person who just came from Georgia know that?
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, maybe it's a coaching problem, as in we elected to say Bo Nix is the starter, or we elected to get Bo Nix from the transfer portal and bring him over here. That being said, we don't know what the backups look like either.
So
and I don't think we will.
Your full blame is Bo Nix because the play was designed correctly by the coaching staff, and he chose incorrectly.
Yes.
Got it.
And I don't think the play necessary. I will say for Kenny Dillingham, his first game as ROC, I think I'm not going to say he did well because we scored 3 fucking points, but I don't think the plays or the play calling was what sunk us in this. We didn't have any explosive plays. I literally think our highlight, for me personally, I would say, there was the Camden Lewis field goal, which, hey, MVP for Oregon, right? Am I right?
We got our only points. Congratulations,
motherfucker! Yes, and that seemed like a game where he was going to miss that field goal. I don't know about you. It seemed like it just because it was like everything was going wrong. I was so happy he got it.
I think the boy is back in town. I think he's here.
Boy's back in town. No, I think so. Gaby Lucas, by the way, drafted Camden Lewis in her Pac-12 college football fantasy thing. So I thought that was very. So hey, I mean, he's got another fan there. But I didn't think the plays or the play calling was bad at all. It was just more the execution of it. Bo Nix definitely made a couple of bad mistakes there. I wish we would have tried to just do some more ground and pound when we were able to in the first half, because it was working really well. Actually, the running backs were doing pretty good. We were getting a good push. The offensive line did well outside of the 3 or 4 false starts, which against Georgia, only 5 penalties in that, in a true basic, I'm going to say a true fucking road game. You're not going to tell me that's neutral. It's in fucking Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sorry, my grandma listened to the show the other day and said I was too many F words, so I'm going to try to cut that.
Yeah,
back.
it's also, there might be too many F words for grandmas. I don't think
Yeah.
my grandma would be stoked at all with the amount
Guess
of
what,
F words.
Grandma? We just lost to Georgia, fucking 49-3. So sorry, Nana, but
he's a little upset, Nana.
your boy's a little pissed. All right, I love you. Say hi to Grandpa for me. But Bo Nix, 21 of 37 for 173 yards. He was our leading rusher, which is not good. 8 carries for 37 yards. So I don't think he did that well. That being said, even though I tweeted tie time really quickly, I think it's basically like Ty Thompson and Jay Butterfield. At this point,
they're bailing.
I think one of them's going to bail, I would imagine. But against Eastern Washington, if they don't see time against Eastern Washington, because if it's a close game at all, then fuck. You got to get one of those guys out just to see how they do. You don't know. I don't even care how they are in practice. And if it's a blowout, like if Oregon's blowing them out, which it should be, God damn it should be.
Right.
In that case, then one of the backups should be out there anyways. And if we don't see them, after the season, after Cristobal and Lanning, after both those staffs are basically like, no, we don't even want them to have, garbage time, then that means I'm sorry, but apparently those two QBs are not worth being on the team outside of practice, is what you're telling us, as what we can speculate, and at a certain point becomes like obvious, and then you want them to transfer because then maybe they'll do well. Robbie Ashford, who transferred, pretty sure he's winning the Auburn job.
Wow.
So
that's like a good team to be the quarterback for, right?
Yeah, Auburn's. Bo Nix was their quarterback.
Oh,
he transferred over to us. So if he does super well there, I'm going to be like, okay, what the fuck just happened?
So here's, oh shit, I had such a pivotal question and I've lost.
Well, here's a random stat. Stetson Bennett, 368 yards he threw for 2 touchdowns. That's career best thrown yards for him. So if that makes you feel good.
So let's say the whole season kind of goes as this went. It's a little down.
Impossible. It's not. We're not going to lose 49-3 to fucking Eastern Washington.
Sure.
But
let's
continue.
say we just keep seeing the same situations that lead to a
possible
5 and
7 season.
So let's say that happens. What do we remove the coaching staff again?
No.
Try again. Are we sticking in on this guy?
We definitely you got to, unless you.
Do we have confidence in this guy?
I will say I do. Well, okay, this is
we
how
have one game of evidence against Georgia, and it makes it hard for me to know anything.
Fair. I think that's where you should be, Aaron, because it's not fair to measure
Analyze.
This thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like this is against a well-oiled machine. Like again, it would be like measuring that crappy little Wrights brothers plane against jet plane. Like
I mean, there's 747. We're the Hindenburg.
There are some things we can think about. Like our tackling was atrocious. Was really, really bad.
Yeah.
That is something you can say. I mean, it's against a level of athlete we're not going to see. Like Bowers was amazing. Washington, those 2 tight ends, you can see why it was hard to tackle them. That being said, it shouldn't have been that crazy because they were getting so many yardage out of just like simple plays that they were able to gain more after an attempted tackle.
A play that every team has done 100 times.
And it made it so Georgia didn't even have to risk much. Like, they didn't have to bomb it downfield because why would they throw that? Like, when they can when they can easily march down the field. So that's a huge problem, and that's a lot of stuff where it's like in week 2, let alone against an easier team. But in week 2, a lot of that stuff does get better. That's where they say the largest, leap in improvement is from week 1 to week 2, which is also holy shit. Does that mean Georgia's going to improve drastically? Because I can't imagine how.
Right.
But do you want silver linings, or do you want kind of the bad stuff first? Because I think we can break it down. That
let's take the bad pill so we can have the sugar after.
there you go. Well, we already talked about some of the bad aspects of Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I think we can also say the defense, the tackling, that was so rough. That was a big part of it. I think we should be afraid of what the secondary really is doing, because there does seem to be also some obvious like lapses in coverage possibly, but that's them just kind of learning a new scheme.
Right.
But yeah, I think Triquez Bridges, he did play some corner, which surprised Hithloday, surprised me a bit too, to hear that. We are really thin on corner, and he's just isn't the best tackler, and that was apparent during the game. I will say we had some terrible news after the game. It was confirmed. Popo Amave, a crucial tackle, defensive tackle, he's out for this season with a foot injury. He's going to need that. They basically decided, yeah, you're going to need a surgery or something like that.
Wow.
He's been trying to recover. Yeah, he's been trying to recover all off season from a surgery he's already had, I do believe. But, yeah, he's missing all this season. He was a veteran. Luckily, we had, Taimani and Rogers were able to fill in really well. And those are good backups. Those should be serviceable backups. I don't think necessarily they were a weakness at all. But, yeah, that sucked to have Popo out there.
You remember last week when you were telling me about how Lanning was keeping everything close to his chest and he wasn't talking about anything?
Yeah, it didn't really matter, but yeah, it was a good gamesmanship thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
But maybe now we know why he wasn't really talking about it.
He's like, we're fine. Well, you know what he did say?
Well, it kind of needs a little tweaking. It's not really ready.
Couple interesting quotes. Like, during, weeks ago, this is probably like a month ago or something like that. But in camp, he was definitely saying, like, someone asked him, like, are you ready to play Georgia? And he said, like, absolutely not.
Wow.
Like, this is like a month ago, But yeah, he said, like, no, we are not ready. And, like, yeah, he's totally true. He's not ready. Like, it takes a while to instill all these things, to instill defensive philosophies and stuff like that. Even when you have talent, you can be a talented team and just, like, that doesn't mean enough.
Second question. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, there's one more quote. There is one more funny quote.
Yes, please.
Where Kirby Smart, Georgia's coach, this is getting a lot of heat. Like, a lot of people are being like, oh, this is bulletin board material, and, like, Duck fans should be angry and stuff like that. But it also is, like, fucking true. Kirby Smart at the end, and obviously him and Dan Lanning seem to get along very well still together. Like, he's rooting the best for him. He was just like, he's like, Dan Lanning will never say this, but we have better players. That's why we won. We just have better players. Like, nothing to it more than that. And, yeah, we do. On top of that, all the, philosophy is completely instilled and stuff like that. But, yeah, they got better players. Luckily, we're going to have better players than most of the other teams that we play. But that's not enough. That's not enough to win. Like, you can still lose. A lot of the problems we have in here, like, not tackling right, like, that can translate to losses against worse teams on our schedule. Absolutely.
Right.
And maybe, like, we don't get the Dan Lanning's defense this entire season. That is a possibility. That would suck. And maybe we can't rely on QB Bo Nix to reliably bail us out of all this stuff.
Right.
So I think that's the large majority. And the injury to Popo. There were seemingly some other injuries. Like, obviously, we saw Coda go down for a second, which he went back in the game. But that was also because Bo Nix kind of, like, led him into dangers. Like, he could have thrown that ball a little better so he didn't take that hit. Then Coda, he catches it really well. Like, he's known as a possession receiver. He's got great hands. I think Coda's going to have a really big season.
Okay.
Yeah, but he gets smashed. Luckily, that I was worried for a second there.
Yeah.
Also, we had some, I believe, a few more for a second. Like, Bassa on that attempted tackle. I believe it was against Washington. I forget who, but against that, he tried to tackle that Bulldog and just crumples down, and then the dude gets like 17 more yards.
Oh,
I believe he should be good to go. I mean, Lanning's still kind of holding these close to his chest. We're going against Eastern Washington too, so it could make sense to be like sit out for a week because BYU week 3. That's gonna be a huge game.
Oh.
That means a lot. Oh my gosh, that means a lot. I feel.
Okay.
That'll be a huge.
So
2
weeks from now, we're gonna have a pretty clear picture of our season. Perspective.
I think it's a good barometer, certainly. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to get into some good stuff?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Let's kick off the good stuff with you also continuing aligning my brain, getting my perspective correct.
Yes.
I've had 5 years now in college sports, so I've
You're super senior.
I've been receiving a pattern.
Yes,
and I just want to make sure I'm clear on how it works. Obviously, every 4 years your roster gets a shakeup. Every year your roster gets a shakeup just because of students coming and going.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it does appear as though our team has always stood on fairly volatile ground. How common is that throughout college sports? Like, is it always really volatile and shaking and moving? I mean,
it is.
Or are we a special circumstance where we are just bad at keeping coaches? We're bad at picking the right choices, even though they look good on paper. It still turns out terrible on the field.
I would say a lot of. I think every fan base definitely feels that way, but I will tell you this. Parts that are definitely an anomaly are how much coaching turnover we've had. That is huge.
That is
especially like for a job that is actually, other Pac-12 fans will make fun of us and be like, we're not desirable. But we are a certain amount of desirable. Definitely. People do want this job. There's a lot of money, a lot of potential. It's a Power 5 thing. There's a history of success. It is a desirable job. So that is a especially weird turnover. And then the other thing is, and people will definitely agree with you here, in the most important position, QB, we've been very, I'd say, volatile. Because since Justin Herbert was actually, we took kind of a risk on him. He's just a local 3-star. And we're like, yeah, okay, you can be the backup.
Right.
Because we had our dude, another transfer, Dakota Prukop.
Right.
Who was following a transfer from the year before that. Vernon Adams Jr. We'll get into Vernon Adams Jr. a little later here. But, and Anthony Brown Jr., another transfer. And now we got Bo Nix.
Right.
And it's just... when you're not developing them, we got Ty Thompson, our highest rated QB recruit ever, outside of our next one, actually. But, when he came here, and he's seemingly not ready, seemingly just not ready and
or
possibly.
Any coach.
Yeah. Apparently.
Is he doping and they know that, and so they can't get him off of it, and they can't play
start that. Let's start that rumor. No.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
No way.
Okay.
I guess so, yeah.
I do want to add a part 2 to the question, and that is there some kind of corporate level bigotry being thrown at us from the NCAA because of our affiliation to Nike, and so they are just making it an impossible workplace to stay here?
I'll just say this as I tap the head of my Phil Knight bobblehead. Yes, everyone's against us.
Right.
Anyways.
We are the bad guys.
Yeah, we're the bad guys. No, we're the good guys. If everyone's against us, then we're clearly the good guys.
I don't think that's how it works, my friend.
Let's do silver linings really quick. Then we got to go to commercial. Then we got a few more. So we're going long, but hey, this is a historic game. So because I mean, this part's going to be quick. The silver linings. There's not that many silver linings. I just want to say this.
It's just
we got to see. Yeah, there's really. I think Bo Nix is actually going to be dangerous against the Pac-12. Yes, I mean, I think he's going to throw a lot of picks, more than Anthony Brown Jr. certainly. But I do think he's. Oh yeah, let's guess. I'll guess. He's going to throw 14 interceptions this season.
Jesus.
I mean, he's already thrown 2.
One, oh right, he's already thrown 2. He's only going to do 12, and there's
12 more in the next 11 games plus whatever. So I think he's
whatever.
Yeah, but
wow.
I do think he's going to actually put up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. I actually do believe that against our future competition. And so, yeah, especially when he gets more control of the offense. We'll see if that's true.
So you expect him to be a high-scoring quarterback?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And he's also going to make some bad mistakes.
Right. I mean, the announcers said, you said it, and then the announcers mimed it, which is that, he's a great quarterback that makes terrible decisions sometimes. And it happens like every 3 games, or it happens 3 games a season.
That is his lot in life. Okay, and then we also got to see every damn running back, which was pretty fun. That was pretty fun, I thought. And all of them looked pretty good, and all of them had different skill sets. I'm happy with any of them, honestly. I especially liked Noah Whittington. I thought he ran really hard. Obviously, in my opinion, had the play of the game. Marquise Irving, even with the few mistakes he had, he also looked... I mean, he started against Georgia, so that must mean something.
Right.
But they all got playing time. Yeah, I liked them all. Even Sean Dollars got out there. It was fun to see. The tight end rooms look really good. Terrence Ferguson looked effective. He's going to destroy some poor Pac-12 defensive backs. And I don't know. Well, I don't know what to say outside. In the passing game, there really wasn't much to like. And fuck, I guess I'm just about done. Camden Lewis, give him the game ball. Christian Gonzalez, he looked really good too. Another transfer who did really well, I thought, and was a really good and apparently crucial pickup. Now, Aaron, we got to go to commercial.
Hit it.
Oregon Ducks fans, if you're itching to pay attention to teams outside your own, come listen to No Truck Stops, a Pac-12 podcast. 4 Pac-12 sickos, trolls, and friends join together to recap and discuss all of the crazy nonsense going around the Conference of Champions. If you ever wonder what's going on outside Eugene, or you just want to hear people talk trash about your rivals, No Truck Stops is the perfect podcast for you. We cover every aspect of the Pac-12 and every Pac-12 discourse you never wanted to hear. Tune in to No Truck Stops for your Pac-12 fix. New episodes drop Mondays at 5 a.m. wherever podcasts are found.
Aw, what's wrong there, young sports fan?
My life is falling apart. My family left me because I won't shut the fuck up about my favorite team, the Oregon Ducks.
What you need is to join the rest of the flock at the Quack 12 podcast.
Sounds great. Is it some kind of drug? Will an 8th be enough? Because I'm jonesing really bad.
No, it's not a drug. It's even better. It's the world's greatest Oregon Ducks podcast.
So do I snort it?
Visit quack12podcast.com to find free weekly episodes and links to the Quack 12 Patreon.
I'm sold. Who needs a family with drugs like this? Quack, quack.
And we're back on Quack.
Quack, quack.
That is right. So that's that game. Let us never talk about it again. Let's talk about, I wouldn't say an equally embarrassing game, but it was an embarrassing game nonetheless. This is one of our favorite segments. Do I have it? Oh, no. I thought I had a quack in time. I guess I'll just sing it. We're gonna get this down eventually. Quack in time.
I think it's great that you keep thinking you have that clip.
I know. It's a running bit at this point.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, and I got that clip. Nope. No, I don't. I think it's because Huey Lewis, every single time, he keeps deleting it. He keeps deleting it. God damn it, Huey Lewis. Please don't sue us. Here we go. So the game I wanted to talk about was the only other time we played our next opponent. That is right. The Eastern Washington Eagles. They're a football team. It was a frustrating as hell game. Now, I told you we'd talk about Vernon Adams Jr. again.
Wait a second.
This is when we're talking about. What's that?
We've already played our second game of football?
No. I'm saying we're about to play our second game of football.
Right, we're about to play our second game of football. Cool.
It's going to be
crazy.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, well, honestly, Georgia, that was enough ass kicking for
Season.
2 games. Yeah. But Eastern Washington is the team we'll be playing next.
Yeah.
They are an FCS team. They've had some actually really high highs on their level, including almost beating Washington, including beating Washington State, which was very funny. I do believe, if I remember correctly. And a lot of that was happening when they had a wonderful quarterback, one of, honestly, my favorite Duck football players of all time, even though he only came 1 season as a transfer, which now I've grown weary of the whole transfer QB experience. His name was Vernon Adams Jr., a.k.a. Big Play VA. Now, this is coming after the Oregon football national title run. Anyways, we didn't get it, but we attempted to get the title with Marcus Mariota, the Heisman-winning candidate, Oregon's only Heisman winner. So in order to replace him, Mark Helfrich was looking for, instead of a QB he had developed, because he was just riding off Chip Kelly's coattails still in his roster, he went into the transfer portal, which wasn't a thing, I guess. He went to the transfer market. I forgot what we called it back then. Uh-huh. He got a grad transfer.
Free agency,
whatever. He got Vernon Adams Jr., who was just killing it in Eastern Washington. They were a high-scoring offense. He's a little guy, but he scrambles like crazy and has the best just touch. He could throw it so damn far and just in the perfect spot. He was so fun to watch. One of the best pure throwers Oregon's ever had. And it took a while. There was a lot of drama, but he passed. It was all about whether he'd pass this math test or not. And he passed it, so he was able to grad transfer over here.
So he's great at football, bad at math.
Well, good enough at math.
I mean
he took more math than I did in college, so
good
whatever,
enough at math.
So he transfers over here just in the nick of time, and guess what? In his season, just so happens the first team we play that season is his old team, Eastern Washington. Some of them, including one asshole who I totally forgot his name, and so be it, because let him be forgotten to the annals of time.
Wow.
So one guy apparently took it real personally that, his QB, the star of Eastern Washington, transferred over to the Ducks and is playing against them because it was a late, dirty hit. My man is sliding, Vernon Adams Jr., and this guy comes in and with his helmet basically targets his hand and just, boom, crushes his throwing hand. And on his throwing hand, I always forget which one. I want to say it was his pointer finger. No, I think it was his middle finger. One of them.
The one that leaves last.
Yeah, exactly. It was a crucial finger for throwing. And literally he has to have it wrapped up for like most of the rest of the season. Like half the season, I think. For the next game, which was huge. It
changes your entire angle. It changes all aspects of the way you want to flip that ball.
Exactly. No, it was a big deal. And the guy got ejected, and as he was ejected, people were booing him because it was an Austin. He was cheering them on. It was a bad look for Eastern Washington.
So we hate Eastern Washington.
Well, that was a rough. This is the only game we've ever played. Not only that, it was a game known for the fact that it was the beginning. It was the first sign, I would say, that the height of Oregon football was about to come crashing down. Because we had just played Ohio State. I mean, we lost to Ohio State in the national championship game.
Wow.
And Marcus Mariota was gone. Chip Kelly had been gone, But things seemingly were going A-OK. That being said, then we were number 7 to start this season off. And we go against Eastern Washington. And our defense was always good at bend, don't break, getting turnovers, helping out the offense in that way. But it wasn't shutting any defense offenses completely down or anything. It wasn't totally dominant in that regard. But they were really starting to show some weaknesses here, and eventually it would just be too much that we were just giving up. Everything was a shootout, and our offense was getting worse slowly. It was scoring a lot, but just not enough to keep up. And this was the game that really showed, because it was against an FCS opponent,
right?
But they were able to score. The final score was 61-42 points. They scored 42 points on us. Now, in retrospect, one of the reasons why they scored so much is because they had an all-time great receiver in Cooper Kupp. I mean, the Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I recognize that name to some degree.
Super Bowl winning Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He stuck around with Eastern Washington, which is very cool about him. You know, it used to be Cooper Kupp and Vernon Adams Jr. uniting, doing so well. But actually, Cooper Kupp, funnily enough, broke the Autzen Stadium record for most yards.
Wow.
Yeah. Ever by any person. 200
own it still?
Yep. To this day, 246 receiving yards.
What
is
a
the most amount of receiving yards. So I want that reverse. I want us to do that, to break that record against Eastern Washington. Next week. Who do we want to do it? I mean, obviously, let's say Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin.
Anybody? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seven McGee.
What is going on with this team? I have no idea.
It'll be so nice to see. The difference is so...
See somebody break one off.
Couldn't be larger. And so it's funny, too, because it's if Eastern Washington scores freaking 42 points against us, this is not the same Eastern Washington team. They're picked to go sixth in the Big Sky or something like that. They're coming off a good win, but it was a competitive game against someone at their level. There's no reason this should be. It should not be a competitive game.
Right.
Something is off very badly if it's a competitive game.
Concerning.
Mm-hmm. And especially, we need to be watching that defense.
Are you nervous?
We need to be watching the defense. No, I'm not nervous.
Great, me neither.
I want to see what happens. But if they score even
21 points,
21. If it's they finish with 21 points, I'd probably be all right with that. If they get 21 points in the first half, I'm kind of pissed because that means our starters are out there and they did it quick.
Let's say they finish with 21 points, but we finish with 28.
Oh, I'm pissed. I'm furious. That's way too close of a game.
Right. You're expecting a blah, 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 blah blowout.
Blowout. Basically, yeah, so no blowout. I'll give you a few names.
Saturday sales. It's a fucking blah, blah, blah blowout.
Yeah, I'll tell you a few. Gunnar Talkington, which is an interesting game. In his last, against their season opener against Tennessee State, which was a 36-29 win. So, yeah, it was close. He went 29-46, 348 yards, 5 touchdowns, which is as many touchdowns as he had his whole career. So, they did pretty well. They're a wide receiver. They got a really good wide receiver named Efton Chisholm III. Efton Chisholm III. Watch out for him. He's a preseason All-Big Sky selection. Had 80 catches for 735 yards and 9 touchdowns last season. He's going to be a big threat for them. Otherwise, though, I mean, he's no Cooper Kupp. All right? Chisholm isn't Kupp. So this should be a blowout. I'm going to be pissed if it isn't a blowout. A lot of Duck fans are.
Is he aged Cooper Kupp?
No, man. Okay, Aaron, let's get into our final
Segment of the day.
Well, final two segment. It's kind of a duo
the
segment.
picks.
Well, we haven't done this part. Oh wait. Oh shit.
What do we got?
Aaron, I'm so sorry. I wrote down our picks in the other room. I got to go grab it, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a pee break while we do this.
I'll even write this time down so we can edit it out.
Booyah!
I'll say edit.
Baby.
I'll say
hey,
bathroom
Aaron,
break.
message to you. You're a piece of shit, Aaron. I fucking hate you, Aaron.
I think I'm gonna keep that part in, but you're gonna need to censor it. Hi, good timing. Okay, 1 second. Where did I want? Oh yeah, the picks. The picks. Quaxer. The picks in bottom 11. Okay. And I'll write when we're popping in, which is about like 58. I'll say. Here we go. That's right, Aaron. We got, for the first time this season, a fan favorite segment. We got
Bottom 11.
That's right. We got the bottom
11. I swore it used to say bottom 11.
Bottom 11. Yeah, I mean, I swore the fart sound never used to be there. That's so rude. Can't believe that.
I don't know who would have put that in there.
Aaron, the bottom 11 is where we talk about all the other teams in the Pac-12, which as of this moment is 11 teams. So we call them the bottom 11 because no matter what happens, even if we get blown out by Georgia, guess what? We're still number one. And the rest of the pack, they're bottom 11, baby.
Boo.
So let's get into what happened in the Pac-12.
All right.
I'm going to have to get a drink of water.
Yeah. Wet that whistle, bro. You got
These pretzels are
talking
making
a
me
lot.
thirsty. Yeah.
If we have time, I have a theory for college football. I have
Let's hear it.
solution. I have a solution to the college football problem. With the weird thing happening with the Pac-12 in 2 years,
Yes.
it seems, and with other teams now also being intrigued on how to move around, etc., it seems like it's a perfect time to break up the whole of college football and redesign it more like football.
NFL?
No. England soccer. I'm sorry.
With
Football
relegation and
with
stuff.
Premier League.
I like that
Championship
idea.
League. Let's make it to, and you can move between them based on how you do within.
There's
that
definitely
each
been a
season.
lot
It's
of
so
conversation.
easy.
there's been a lot of conversation about that in theory, but it's only fan stuff because in reality,
There's too much money involved.
There's just too much because that means
It's fucking bullshit.
even though it's like never going to happen, that means there is a possibility that a team like, let's say, like a storied program like Notre Dame or Michigan or Ohio State or Alabama
Could sink.
and no longer be D1 football or whatever.
Great.
Which sounds fun and stuff like
Let's
that.
start telling the truth.
But that's why it's not. It's never going to happen. Anyways.
I mean, we already know that the SEC and ESPN are in pocket with each other. So just make that the top one. It's blatant that they're in cahootsy pootsies. So just make them be the best one.
Well, don't worry, dude.
You're the best. Congratulations. You're the good one.
There's about to be one division anyway, or two divisions, it seems like. Or
to rule them
two
all.
conferences. My man, so I want to get through both our picks and the results. So we started off choosing the Arizona State game. That was a pretty obvious one. Arizona State versus Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. Sure, they upset Arizona the year before, but not this season. We both chose ASU on this, and we were both correct because they won 40-3. Emory Jones, I actually thought he looked pretty good. He was a pretty good Jaden Daniels replacement. I mean, it's hard to say. It was just against NAU. But I thought he looked pretty good. Also, they had X Valaday, cool running back, especially because his name is X. Mm-hmm. I guess his full name is
Xavier?
Xavion.
Xavion?
Probably X. Well, it
could also just be Xavion.
It just says X on TV, which is probably stick to that. But it's Xazavian. Yeah. So they were interested. No idea. Okay. But they got 1 point. Both of us got 1 point on that one. That's an easy one. That was a warm up. Yeah. Here's where one of us separated ourselves from the other one.
Sounds like you are happy with yourself.
Because TCU, Colorado, I baked you. I was like, Aaron, Colorado is shit.
I'll never do it.
Colorado is so shit. Why are you choosing them? And you chose them. And you chose them, and they lost at home 38-13. What do you think of that?
Well, I meant to bring it up earlier while watching the Oregon game, realizing that every one of my predictions did not come true.
Not quite. No, you got
none of them.
prediction of the game.
Began to feel as though my relationship with the game has changed too much for me to trust myself. And so therefore, I kind of expect maybe this is going to be just a knockdown, drag-out fight for me the whole season.
Well, you got to trust yourself before you bust yourself. Think about
Brother,
that.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, so I watched that game. That game was, quite a bit of a mess because it was on a Friday, so it was easy for me to watch. Colorado's in trouble. They can't do much of anything right, especially offense. Their offense looked terrible, even with JT Shrout coming out there and spelling Brendan Lewis a bit, but they still didn't look good. Shrout looked like more energy, more like air under his ball, but still didn't look great. So yes, Colorado is bad. Then both of us, we did the this is the UCLA Bowling Green game. Bowling Green, also very not good. Right. Yet you chose them because you were feeling because you won't choose UCLA because you're anti-Chip Kelly this season.
That's right. This year it's anti-Chip Kelly season. I've come up with a derogatory nickname for him, and it's Potato Chip.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I feel bad for it, but you know what? I got to be an asshole to somebody because that's apparently a thing I've decided to do for the show.
Well, this is a little fat phobic, but you can also call him Potato Chip Belly.
No,
like Chip Kelly.
I feel like Potato Chip is a bit of a weight shame, and that's why I feel bad for it. He could have a really great healthy diet, and genetics are a situation. I don't know. I shouldn't fat shame ever. But I decided to call him Potato Chip.
Okay, I love it.
Because also, a potato chip,
It's not
delicious.
just the fat. Yeah,
It's delicious, but it gives you nothing. It has no sustenance to it.
And
And
that's what you're saying.
and that is how I have decided he coaches football.
Wow. Well, they were a 3-touchdown favorite, and they won by more than 3 touchdowns. They won 45-17. I will say though, their special teams, which I think is a good measure for like, the fine details that a coach can get to. Like if they have great special teams, I think it's like, wow, this coach has covered everything. Maybe. They looked really bad. They looked bonkers. Bonkers bad. Not good. No. And DTR was just like classic freaking DTR, just running around like a chicken with his head cut off, throwing around either a huge bomb or an interception, or I don't know. He was nuts. Yeah, UCLA. They may do well in the pack this year though. Who knows? Now the Georgia-Oregon game. I was going to go with Oregon. I was going to go with my heart. But then at the last second, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I want these points. And I went with Georgia. I went with Georgia because I want to beat you this year. And I think I'm doing well.
Did you go against the Ducks? I think you said... Oh.
I switched it on air, though. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want the points. I'm going with Georgia. And they did win. We never need to talk about that again. So that's another point for yours truly.
You just tore away, brother man. 4-1 currently. Is that correct? 3-1.
Something like that. Yeah, I got the full total here, but I'm not doing this.
You're not done beating my ass yet.
Well, we'll see. Then we got, here we go. San Diego State versus Arizona. Arizona, a team that only won one game last season, but they're on the rebound. They're they already added a whole lot of talent. They seemingly are going in a more coherent direction. And they did that by beating San Diego State, a team that, lost their best player, a player who was now revealed to be probably a monster of a human being. But anyways, so they lost their best player. Their defense is not maybe as good as it was, and that's what they put their hat on last season. Arizona did a good job of beating them. There was one low light that was very funny where Arizona was punting from their own end zone, and the punter kicked it, and the ball hit the blocker's butt, the snapper's butt.
I bet that hurt.
It fell in the end zone, and the other team scored on it. That's pretty funny.
No.
Yep.
Okay, at least we didn't get play of the week. At least that award goes to them.
But Arizona,
bullet.
Yeah, Arizona won it 38-20. You chose Arizona because you're no longer anti-Arizona. I, on the other hand, thought I did a really sneaky pick with San Diego State, and I was wrong, and I am sorry, listeners, if I lost you any money.
Finally got one.
Now, next one. Cal versus UC Davis. Again, this is another one where I begged you. I said Cal isn't very good, but they're better than UC Davis. Come on, Aaron. This is like a 3-touchdown advantage here. Yet you went with UC Davis, and yet, once again, you were wrong because Cal won 34-13. Though, that being said, this game was close for way too long. It was close for way too freaking long.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel better.
I guess.
It's, you know what it is?
What's
the fact that my ability to perceive things is being disturbed by the very fact that we live in the most chaotic of energy times.
Oh, always an excuse with you, man.
I'm calling it as I see it.
Well, next up was USC. Obviously, big deal here because new coach, new QB, new talent everywhere. Got Jordan Addison there now. And so they lived up to the offense portion of it. But as Pac-12 fans have been saying, what about that defense, though? And the defense, Rice only scored 14 points. USC won this game 66-14. But it was a week 1 game, as in, Rice was also able to move the ball surprising amount. But it's not like a real issue or anything. I think they're all doing really good. I think Lincoln Riley, there's still a ton of excitement. I think he's still already in a better spot than Clay Helton was. But yeah, that next week's USC versus Stanford game, that should be really interesting and definitely more telling anyways. Both of us chose USC, so we both got that. Utah versus Gators, Utah versus Florida. This was the actual most fun game, most competitive game. Really great atmosphere, game of the week, in the swamp.
Right.
Hell of a game. I wanted Utah to win it, actually, in the end.
Yep.
Both of us went with Florida, on the other hand, because we didn't think Utah was going to be able to cut the mustard. And they weren't. They lost by 3 points. It was nuts. It was a really good game. Cameron Rising wasn't great, honestly. Florida has a really fun QB over there that was like an aggressive runner. Really fun to watch. And it came down to Utah had a late lead. Then Florida was able to march down the field. They even bled the clock before they had the lead. Down to like a minute and a half or a couple minutes, which was pretty, I don't know, gutsy, but also cool. Yeah. They had like 5 minutes on that drive or something like that. But they purposely bled it down because they're like, we don't want to give you any time. And so they score, but Utah still has like over a minute, and they march down the field really quickly. It was really impressive, especially Brant Keithy. Wow, amazing tight end. Really fun to watch him. And so they were, chugging down. Tavion Thomas was getting really good yards too. They get down into deep in the red zone. It looks like they've got plenty of opportunities to try to score the touchdown for the win or get the field goal to send it to overtime because they're only down by 3. Instead, Cam Rising throws an interception. Utah loses in the swamp. It was a rough one. Both of us get that point, though, because of Florida. Rough.
Well, now, I just have a bad vibe on Utah for the season, methinks.
Okay. I hope we beat them. That's all I care about. I hope we beat them.
I think we will. I think whatever happened last season with them was Flukeville, USA.
I hope so. Now, I didn't watch most of all these other games. I either watched it afterwards or I watched it during. This one, I straight up didn't watch. Stanford versus Colgate. Stanford won 41-10. None of this means anything. Colgate's bad. Stanford could be good. Stanford could be bad. Who cares? E.J. Smith, Emmitt Smith's son, got 118 yards. Tanner McKee threw for 308 yards. I don't know. They're playing USC next week. That'll be an interesting game.
I mean, literally, you said the 2 words, Stanford versus Colgate, and I went, oh, God, it sounds so boring. Like, look, you're yawning. I yawning. Said it, and it made you yawn.
It made me yawn.
Literally that kind of a game.
It also reminded me of what smelling my breath reminded me I need to use Colgate to brush my teeth. Okay. Next game, so we both went with Stanford, and we were smart because they won. Next game was Wazoo versus Idaho. Idaho's an FCS team. Washington State has historically had trouble with FCS teams in early games, especially season openers, as we said. Portland State, Eastern Washington. And this one was close. I mean, it finished 24-17. We both went with Wazoo. That was smart. Cameron Ward came in from Incarnate Word. Supposedly, there's a lot of talk about him being one of the best, possibly, Pac-12 quarterbacks. Didn't see in this game. All of Washington. I mean, I believe Idaho scored the first 10 points in this game. Idaho did a really good job, honestly, considering they were huge underdogs, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Washington needed everything. Like, it was unfortunate because like Idaho's offense was just not good enough, and it was clear. Like it was clear if they were going to win this game, it was going to be because of like blocked punts or like an interception in a crucial part of the field, or like a defensive score. Like it was going to be something like that.
Yeah.
Because their offense just wasn't cutting it, and Washington's defense was providing enough pressure to throw stuff in. But Idaho's defense stood up to the challenge. Like, it was a game. It was way closer of a game than it should have been.
I do want to say that I did my duck diligence, and a mutual friend of ours posted pics of herself and her friends and family at the game.
Aw.
And I talked mad shit on Instagram.
Nice.
In the DMs, of course. Because when you want to go for the throat, you got to go into the DMs.
Slide into the DMs. That's good, especially because they probably felt bad. They probably felt bad.
And then I told her she should come on the show because it could be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Get her on there. Up next after that, we were getting late at that point. Oh, my mic is sliding everywhere. At that point, because we got Oregon State versus Boise State. I went with the Broncos. I thought there was too much hype with these Beavers. But wouldn't you know it, you went with the Beavers, and you got it right. The Beavers actually looked pretty dominant. I mean, after building up a big lead, they did let Boise State a little bit back into it. But then when they needed to, it was like, boom, back into it. Jack Coletto was really fun to watch. Yeah?
Did you say who won the Huskies game? Did I get a point on that?
We're not there yet. We're not there. That's the final game.
That's the final game.
Yeah. But Oregon State, really kicked some butt.
Who played Idaho?
Washington State.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. We have a friend that went to the Huskies game, not the Washington State game. I'm so far away.
Oh, my goodness.
So did I get a Washington State point?
Yeah, both of us did. Both of us.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Jesus. I'm so sorry.
And then Boise State, Oregon State. You got the Oregon State one.
Right.
Because Chance Nolan actually also looked. He was throwing some dimes. He threw a few that weren't the best passes, but it really looks like they've stepped up in quite a few ways, and they got a really big week 2 game, so that'll be fun to watch. And then last but not least is Washington. Washington, behind their transfer quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., played against Kent State, and they dominated, as they should. 45-20. It was a very good offensive effort. We don't need to talk about it anymore, besides to say they won, and we both got a point.
And, Gaby, I hope you're happy. And, AJ, I hope you enjoyed your experience.
There you go. Shout out to those Washington fans that listen to this Oregon football podcast. Now, so that all being said, final score is actually you rallied back because I do have a lead, but it's only a 10-8 lead.
That's a lot of... Oh, right. Week 1. Jeez, so many games.
So many games,
Points
absolutely.
Are going to stack so fast. Okay.
Stacks.
10-8. That's easy peasy.
Points. Yeah.
And to be fair, one of those is obviously a gimme because I'm going to always say not this team, and they'll probably most times do well.
I don't think so. I think I'm going to beat the pants off you. Okay, now, Aaron, final segment to wrap all this up. It's a fan favorite, some would say.
These have both been fan favorites.
The Picks.
The Picks. That's right. It's the Picks. And you know what? I think it'd be fun if we have some background music to this, because why not?
Sure.
Picks up there. I love it. Okay, everybody.
Why does it do that?
I don't know. It makes me laugh. We got the Picks.
The Picks.
Now, Aaron and I, we don't go against spreads. No. Because we're good boys. We don't like that whole gambling biz. Even though I may make you, if we both think, oh, there's something good about this, then I think we should have a gambling, like, it should be called our life savings alert.
I know for a fact our loyal listeners know that every so often I like to make very detailed predictions.
That's true.
I'm for it.
Okay, well, here we go. So, yeah, that may happen, but only if we're absolutely sure.
Got to feel it. Got to have that energy.
And this is just a contest for Aaron and I to decide who's the smartest. Okay, here we go. Starting off, Southern Utah against, as of right now, number 7 Utah. 10:30 a.m. This is the Thunderbirds. This is the team that we scored 70 points on in Willie Taggart's first ever game. Aaron, who's winning?
I'm sorry. I was listening to the song.
The song you wrote
Yes.
and sang in.
Hit me.
Southern
Sorry.
Utah University versus Utah.
Oh,
at
Southern
Utah.
versus Utah at Utah. Utah will win this game.
Yes, that is right. They're going to beat the shit out of them because they're pissed. Hopefully what we do to Eastern Washington. Washington State at number 18, Wisconsin. That is a rough one. I think that's going to be a beatdown personally. Just because Washington State looks so rough against Idaho. I'm not sure how they're going to do against Wisconsin. Big boy football. But, Aaron, who you got?
I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
Going with Wisconsin, as am I. Maybe this is a week where we're not very different, you and I. It's like
I might even plan it to be exactly that way.
Oh, actually, you know what? Since I'm ahead,
first.
I should be going first. I got you. Colorado at Air Force. I do believe Air Force should be pretty competitive here, or be a pretty good team, actually. They got like 10 wins, I think, last season. I think they're a pretty good service academy right now. And as the fun fact in the Oregon-Georgia game said, they take 0 transfers. No one's trying to transfer into the Air Force.
No.
Now, I'm going to go with Air Force for that reason, especially because they're at home. Who are you going with?
Well, Adam, I think empirically I've been against the militarized state, so I'm going to go with Colorado.
Going with Colorado. I applaud your protest vote, but ain't going to work. UNLV, a team that I think they didn't win any games last year, but I think they're coming off a win. Yeah, that's right. Marcus Arroyo is their coach, our old offensive coordinator. So, UNLV at California. Cal's going to win, I think. Because UNLV's not very good. Both of us going Cal.
Yeah.
Good. Rob Wong.
University of Las Vegas?
Yeah, that's right. University of Las Vegas.
I think they're going to win.
By the way, no, you really?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vegas.
Ooh, that would be so embarrassing. So you mean our friend and frequent guest of the podcast, Rob Wong, he's going to be crying because that will be a tough pill to swallow.
No.
Yeah, he'll cry.
Well,
you want him to cry.
I don't want him to.
Clearly.
But yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. Well, by the way, UNLV, when they score a touchdown at their home stadium, they pull a giant slot machine.
Really?
Yep.
Love it.
Just so you know.
Are they playing in Vegas?
No.
Oh, God, we're fucked.
Here we go. Portland State at Washington. Obviously, Washington's a huge fave because Portland State is but an FCS opponent. Who are you going with?
Washington.
Good. Then we got Alabama State at UCLA. Again, this is kind of a boring week. Going UCLA because they're heavy favorites here. Alabama State, not on their level. Who are you going with?
Obviously, I'm going with the state of
Oh! I thought I was going to be able to trick you, but you're sticking with your guns. You're really going anti-UCLA.
Adam, I try to be a man of my word as much as I can. So here I am. I'm going to rock you like a hurricane.
Potato chips are hard to resist, and I'm pretty proud of you for doing it.
I eat baked Lays.
I do baked. I think baked chips, they're so fucking good.
They're good.
Let's get into the next one. Arizona State at number 12, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State blew the doors off their last opponent, but then they kind of opened up the door and let them back in against mere old, I believe, Central Michigan, the Chippewas. Aaron, I am going with Arizona State in an upset. I know I shouldn't. I probably shouldn't. But I wanted to feel a little dangerous. I want to play with the devil here. Who are you going with?
I'll go with the state, too.
Whatever. Makes me feel even better. Less stakes. Then we got...
No, you're right. Maybe I should go opposing. But I don't want to. I want to go with the state because I do think they will win.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay. Emory Jones, save us. Hopefully Oklahoma State's defense is not as good as it was last season. Anyways... USC, number 14 USC. I don't know why the fuck they're ranked number 14, but whatever. Number 14 USC is going to the farm to take on Stanford. Here's another surprise pick. I'm feeling a little dangerous today. Usually against Stanford versus USC, whoever's not supposed to win wins. Stanford is not supposed to win. Therefore, Stanford is winning this game, even though they suck. Just like last season when they beat us, they're going to upset USC. Aaron, who you choosing?
You have to go first.
I did. I chose Stanford.
Oh, you already... Of course you would.
I chose the upset. My favorite team.
Then I go against you.
You're going USC. Smart pick, number 14.
They're
then
number
we
14,
got...
apparently.
Yep. We got Eastern Washington at Oregon. For all the reasons I said earlier, I'm going with Oregon.
Me as well, because I believe we're a 12-0 team with an accidental first game.
We're a 12-0 team after a loss.
That's right. Preseason.
Then
that
we
was
got...
just preseason.
This is a damn fun game. I think this is a really fun game. Oregon State at Fresno State, motherfucker. Fresno State, I believe Jeff Tedford came back. He's their coach, if I'm not crazy. I believe Jeff Tedford's coach there. And which
Fresno
is
State.
Mm-hmm. Jake Hayner is also back there. Really fun quarterback to watch.
Yeah.
This is against Oregon State is traveling down there. This is going to be a huge one. This is, I think, going to be a really fun game. It's going to be late. Oregon State looked really good against Boise State, but this should be a real challenge. We'll see what happens. I think I want Oregon State to win. But I'm going to go with Fresno State because I think Hayner's got it.
I'm going Oregon State. I think they're going to be a 2-0 team.
You think they're winning their first straight, eh? First two
Yeah.
straight. I don't know. I bet you're right. Just something in my gut.
Oregon State. Oregon State.
Again, State.
Yeah.
Oregon State. Okay.
If I can't be happy
Pac-12
for
13.
myself, I might as well be happy for my brother.
Oh, that's beautiful. And last game, this should be another interesting one. This is apparently all the interesting games are happening late. Because we've got
Right
Mississippi
after dark.
State. Yep, Pac-12 after dark. Mississippi State, coached by Mike Leach, formerly of Wazoo, formerly of
Yeah.
Washington State.
Wow.
He's down there at Mississippi State. And he's traveling to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Maybe the much improved? ? I'm going with the SEC team. It's that simple.
Wow. I'm going
Mississippi
with Arizona.
Going with Arizona, huh? You
Bro,
sound like
now that
our
I-
friends over at No Truck Stops podcast. They're so high on Arizona right now.
Well, I'm just stoked to get to be a Wildcat once more. We all know I love that Sandy Bully.
You love her. And she wears an Arizona Wildcat sweatshirt in the movie Speed. That's why.
That is why I like them.
That's right. And them's your picks, everybody. Them is your picks.
The pick.
The picks. Oh, and that is your show. That is
No,
your
that's our
show.
show.
Oh, yeah, that's our show.
Unless we want to give
My-
it to the people.
I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do. Not for free sometimes, because as you heard in that wonderful, in a commercial that will be aired on this one day, we got a Quack 12 Patreon in which you can give us money. You can help us make this podcast. It costs a measly $5, and you get hours of really fun stuff on there, both Ducks related and not Ducks related. A lot of good Duck history stuff in there too, if I say so myself. That's on the Quack 12 Patreon. We also got a Twitter account at Quack12 Podcast, a YouTube page where you can actually watch this shit. We got so much fun stuff, y'all. So please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and leave a comment. We're going to watch the Ducks beat fucking Eastern Washington. Couldn't be more excited. I got my Bi-Mart pin already. It's joining the list. You can't really see it because it won't autofocus on it, but whatever, you see it. Aaron, do you have any words of wisdom to give to our friends at home before we sign off?
Peace and love will always prevail if you stop focusing on the terrorists that are trying to control our mind.
Also, fucking learn to tackle, Oregon Ducks. Come on, man.
Hey, come on.
Come on.